Okay. Over 6 million children are abused every single year. There are 6 million reports of children being abused every single year. There's not a specific group. There's no specific ethnicity or cultural background or social status. It's just across the board. Um, Children oftentimes think it is their fault. It is never the child's fault. But because of the parent or the guardian or whoever is abusing them, things are piled upon them that they're too young to understand and that they're stuck with for the rest of their life. And on average, there's at least 5 children that die every single year in America from abuse because America is the top. It's like there's more people in America that abuse their children than any other country. Um, in early childhood education, I met some people in high school that we took a course on abuse, and I met some people and they had horrific stories, and it truly does stay with these children for the rest of their lives, and they cannot get away from it, and it's put upon them, and there's nothing they can do about it except for bear it. Um, Today I'm going to talk about the 4 main types of abuse and their consequences that come along with them. Abuse isn't always physical alone. A lot of times you think about abuse, you automatically think of physical abuse, but it's not. There's physical, physical, emotional, sexual, and there's neglect. Sexual abuse is not always touching, but it's just being exposed to that sort of thing. Being exposed to that is considered abuse. Emotional abuse is not always counted as abuse by some people, but it is abuse. It's when a child is shot down. It's when their emotions are taken to. It's when they're told that they're worthless by their parent or their guardian, and it's just a constant belittling of the child, and it is definitely abuse. And it's one of the hardest ones to catch because you cannot see it, and a lot of times the children learn to repress it, and so you cannot tell that they are being abused, but they truly are. The most known type is physical abuse, and physical abuse is when you can actually see something. It's oftentimes when they're trying to discipline the child, but they take it too far, like they turn a whipping into a beating with a belt. You can tell that there is a fine line between the two, and if the punishment is given in anger, then it is abuse. If it is given to put fear into the child, then it is abuse. And if the punishment is completely unpredictable, then it is abuse and is no longer discipline, but it has turned over into abuse. The most often kind of abuse is neglect. And neglect is when the child is not given the needs that they're needed, when they don't get the hugs that they need, when they don't get the support that they need from the parents. And in older children, you cannot tell at all because they don't have to fend for themselves, but they're not truly getting what they need. They're not getting the support. They're not getting the emotional benefits that they need from the parent. And oftentimes, it's not even on purpose, but there's an illness or there is an injury that mandates that the parent can no longer take care of the child, but it is still abuse, and a lot of times it is on purpose, and they are neglected, especially like if the parent is an alcoholic or if they're hooked on something, then it is, and that is a very big problem that we oftentimes cannot detect because they can hide it so well. Repercussions of being abused stay with the child their entire life and completely into adulthood. Most of them, at the age of 21, 80% of children that were abused can be diagnosed with some sort of psychological disorder. 14% of men and 36% of women in 2011. All these statistics are from 2011 because it takes about 2 years to process all of this. They were 40% of men and 36% of women were abused as children. Abused children are more likely to be teen parents. They're more likely to get hooked on a substance abuse and to abuse the substance. They are 30% more likely to abuse their own children than a person who has not been abused themselves. They are more likely to get arrested. They're more likely to get arrested as juveniles and adults, and they're also more likely to do violent crimes like murder and stuff like that. So, in conclusion, there again are 4 main types of abuse. There is the sexual abuse, the physical abuse, the emotional abuse, and neglect. And all of these are very serious and very real in America overall, the other countries that are industrialized in the world. These children live in fear for the rest of their lives, and they cannot express themselves, they do not trust people, and it's very hard for these children to be in society the same way that other people are. Pearl S. Buck, who is an advocate, said, if our American way of life fails the children, it fails us all. And that is completely true. And we have to fix this problem in our society before it completely explodes and destroys an entire generation. And here's my audience again.